Hey there, it's Clay with modernlove.life, where we help you get the great, loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games, without having to play hard to get, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you're not, because I believe that you deserve to be loved for the person that you are. And if you agree with me, do me a favor, help support this channel by giving this video a thumbs up and by subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Yeah, and also, if you'd like to stay in the loop about new things coming up, I think we're going to be having our interactive group course opening up pretty soon. Please make sure that you're on our newsletter over at relationshipinnergame.com. So today we're talking about getting over your ex in order to get them back. Today I'm coming at you from YouTube again. The past couple of days I've been trying out Facebook Lives. Those have been interesting. I think I might do maybe a little bit of a mix of both of those. So if you want to catch those Facebook Lives, you can find the link to our Facebook page down in the description for this video. But if you want to, I'm sorry, my wife was just texting me there. But anyway, so today we're talking about getting over your ex in order to get back together with them. I'm going to tell you why this is important, and not in a sort of fortune cookie sort of way, or in some sort of like, it's a weird ironic twist of fate or something like that, that you need to get over your ex in order to get them back, or in some sort of like we all want what we can't have kind of way. But I'm going to explain it to you in a pretty practical sort of way. And the reason for that is that your ex, when the two of you break up, it's very common for you, the dumpee, the person on the receiving end of the breakup. It's very common for people to be at least temporarily in a state of damage control mode. And if they're not in active damage control mode, they're often in other phases of poor emotional management, such as attachment to outcome, all of that stuff, being willing to compromise their integrity and so on and so forth. And so as you start to get over the breakup, emotionally speaking, you're bringing yourself back into alignment with a higher version of yourself, a better version of yourself. Now, ideally, you would like to be the best possible version of yourself in order to really maximize your ability to heal for your own experience of life. But also, if you want to get back together with your ex, you really want to get out of that poor emotional state of damage control mode, or possibly other subtle ways that you could unintentionally be sabotaging the connection. And as you do this, you're really demonstrating to your ex that they can enjoy interacting with you. And again, that's one of our 3 factors in getting back together with your ex. Number 1 is you have to demonstrate to them that they're not walking back into the same relationship that they walked out of. So why the two of you break up? You need to show them that whatever that was has been fixed. Number 2 is you have to make interacting with you feel good. It has to be enjoyable. It's not just enough that you learned your lesson from the past and you're not going to cheat again, and you're not going to lie again, and you're not going to neglect their emotions again, and you're not going to do whatever again. But you need to really show them that they can actually enjoy interacting with you. And that's really where this whole getting over the breakup really comes into play. Because, obviously, if you're walking into the situation with a hidden agenda, if you're interacting with them with strings attached and all of that, it's not going to feel good for them on an emotional level to interact with you. So you really want to be able to fix this, to be able to correct course in this way, so that you can actually create interactions that feel good on an emotional level and really encourage them to want to get back together with you. And just for the sake of completeness, that 3rd factor in getting back together with your ex is to really navigate any sort of practical or logistical things that could be keeping the two of you apart, such as friction, such as rebound relationships, such as other considerations, which of course we help people do whenever it makes sense to address specific concerns like that. But getting over your ex, as I talked about in yesterday's Facebook live stream. I don't know if you caught that. I just uploaded it to YouTube this morning. But if you watch that on Facebook, cool. But you may have watched that on YouTube as well too. But as I mentioned, getting over your ex is not just a simple matter of doing the things that somebody who is over their ex would do, like dating other people, like just white knuckling it through some arbitrary period of time, hoping that breakup math is real. Um, because people don't heal at a sort of set rate. Like there's a common rule of thumb that for some reason has caught on somewhere that you need 1 month to heal from the breakup for every 1 year that you were together, and totally not true. We all have our own different emotional signatures and our own different emotional rates at which we heal and which we recover from a breakup. And so moving on is not just a matter of time. It's not just a matter of distracting yourself with activities like taking Spanish lessons or going rock climbing or things like that. I mean, it's great if you want to do those things for their own sake, but just distracting yourself alone is not going to get you over your ex. It's not going to allow you to pass time while the magic of breakup math comes into play. And also, just arbitrarily dating a whole bunch of people is not going to get you over your ex necessarily either. The thing that is going to get you over your ex in a real and meaningful sort of way is actually appropriately handling the emotions that you're experiencing after a breakup, really learning something from the breakup itself and using that as a catalyst to create a better vision for yourself, a better version of yourself stepping forward in life, so that whether or not you get back together with your ex, you are an improved and better person as the result of that breakup. You can even think of this as like anti-fragility if you're familiar with Nicholas Nassim Taleb's book Anti-Fragile. He says that there are three types of I'm not sure what you'd call it, but there's the fragile thing, which is you drop it, it breaks, it shatters. There's the robust thing, which is you drop it, it doesn't break, it still stays the same. Like I don't know, a plastic cup or something like that. You throw it on the floor, it's makes a few noises, bounces around a bit, but it's still pretty much the same thing. And then there are systems that he calls anti-fragile, which actually benefit from challenges, which benefit from tribulations, which benefit from difficulties. And if you can turn your breakup into a thing that causes you to become anti-fragile, in that it makes you a stronger person, a better person, a more a person that's able to bring themselves to their life, to their experience of life, to their experience of love and relationships in a stronger, better way, then that is going to position you in the optimal way to really make the most of your breakup, to really move on from the breakup. And if after you do all of that you decide that getting back together with your ex is a good idea, then by all means you're absolutely best positioned to make that happen. If on the other hand you've gone through all of this and you've decided that your ex isn't the right person for you, then you're also in a good position to start dating other people as well too, because you have emotionally moved on from the pain of the breakup itself. And so, I mean, getting over your ex, getting over the breakup, getting over the pain of the heartbreak and all of that, these are like really important, critical things to do, whether you're going to get back together with your ex, whether you're not going to get back together with your ex, whatever it is moving forward. Because, I mean, like if you don't, you also have to look at what happens if you don't get over the breakup, if you don't get over your ex, if you don't get over the breakup. What could happen? Well, there's the obvious reason or obvious scenario where you could be one of those people that's just hung up on their ex for years and years and years, long after the train has left the station. Your ex is with somebody new, they're maybe getting married, starting a family or something like that, and you're still hung up on them, right? Still robo-texting them once a week, some sort of like positive memory text or something like that some other dating coach may have taught you about, hoping that eventually they'll respond to you and you can have some sort of great, amazing reconciliation. That's one possibility. The other possibility, or at least one other possibility, is that you can actually let all of that emotion and all of that gets created during the breakup sort of calcify into a kind of state of bitterness, a kind of state of cynicism, and really sort of this like, jaded sort of mindset where you start to think like love is an illusion. Nobody actually cares about anybody else. Relationships are completely transactional. Like actual compassion for another person is a myth. We all just want to get what we can get from somebody else, and then screw everyone else. As long as I'm getting my own benefit, then screw you. I don't care. And you can live your life that way. That's totally fine. You can live your life any way that you want to, but you have to be in acceptance of the consequences of living your life in that way. If you think that human interactions are just completely transactional, there's no actual compassion, no empathy, no shared connection, no camaraderie between anybody, no romantic connection, no spark, no anything like that, and it's just a sheer transaction of like, hey, I give you money and you give me, sex, and that's what it is, that's okay. You can do that as long as you are comfortable and happy and at peace with the idea that you are living in some sort of meaningless, nihilistic dystopia. That is okay, as long as that is the world that you want to live in. Because whatever you believe, whatever viewpoint you have on life is what you're going to start to see around you. I know this is getting a little bit metaphysical here, but as you start to see the world in a certain way, as you start to perceive men or women or relationships or love or whatever in a certain way, you're going to start to see the world and see evidence that supports that in a certain way, okay? So, maybe you start to have this cynical view of relationships or something like that, and then you turn on the news, you're reading something in a newspaper or whatever, and you hear about, I don't know, like one of the things recently is how Jeff Bezos and his wife are getting divorced. And, he's the CEO, founder of Amazon, obviously very wealthy. His wife is getting a lot of money out of this, apparently, or so I would imagine. And, you can easily look at this and say, oh yeah, she was just using him this whole time, blah, blah, blah. Love is fake, nobody, all that stuff. Or you can look at, if you have a more compassionate, a more human-centric kind of worldview, you can look at it and say, oh, well, yeah, they had some disagreements. I don't know. If you have like issues around money, you might say, oh, it was the money. It corrupted them. It caused them to, be evil to one another or to stop caring about one another or something like that. Or you can just say, oh, they had some sort of issues. They, lost touch with their connection or whatever it might be. And whatever your worldview is, you will find evidence for that in the things that you perceive in the world around you. Anyway, kind of a bit of a tangent, but that is my personal belief. And so I don't want you to live in a cynical, nihilistic world where relationships are only transactional if that is not what you want. Again, you can do whatever you want. You can live in that world if you want to, as long as you're okay with the consequences of living in that world. If you don't want to live in that world, then just adopt some new beliefs and you can actually start to shift out of that world and actually see, oh, hey, look at that. Maybe all men aren't evil. Maybe all women aren't evil. Maybe relationships actually can work and actually be fulfilling. But anyway, that's kind of our long roundabout way of saying that, yeah, it is important to get over your breakup. It is important to get over your ex. It is important to get over the heartbreak. If you want to get back together with them, if you want to position yourself in a new and better way to create a relationship with somebody else, to have a richer, fuller dating life, to do whatever it is, but you don't want to go into your next relationship, getting back together with your ex, dating, or whatever, as some sort of like wounded person who's going in there with a chip on their shoulder, who's looking for somebody to take responsibility for their emotional world, who's looking to get revenge on somebody, who's looking to blame other people for their place in life or whatever it is. You want to be able to let go of that. You want to be able to heal, and you want to be able to bring the best of yourself to whatever the future may hold for you, because that is how you get the best relationship possible, where you can be loved for who you are, whether that is with your ex or whether that is with somebody else. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Once again, if you like what we're doing, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And please check out the link in the description box below for our Facebook page if you want to catch my Facebook live streams from time to time. And also, make sure you're on a newsletter over at relationshipinnergame.com. There will be information coming out shortly about our group interactive coaching courses, which will hopefully be opening up shortly. Anyway, with that being said, let's see what folks are talking about in the comments section. Lots of comments today. Oh, I did see that there was a super chat. Let's see. This is from Charlie. Charlie gave me 79. What's the denomination for pounds, like pence? 79 pence. Well, thank you very much, Charlie. Let me see if you Okay, there's your comment. Is that the only one? Okay, I think so. Okay. Charlie says, "Hi Clay. So my ex has told me that he is seeing somebody. He said he cares about me and won't stop talking to me. We text daily, and he checks my Snap story multiple times every day. What could this mean?" Okay, so yeah, again, people can go through the motions of dating other people. They can go through those motions and think that they have moved on. Just because I am dating somebody else, just because I'm doing all of this, it means I've moved on. But if they are just lying to themselves and they have not really addressed the core emotional issues from the breakup, they can put themselves in kind of a weird situation where, okay, they think they're moving on, they think they're taking their life in a different direction, but emotionally they're still stuck to you. And so they're still interacting with you on a regular basis. They're still talking to you. They're still telling you they want to stay in contact with you. They're still checking out your social media activity and all of that. Very common. This can really be a major sign that your ex is quite confused. They don't really know exactly how the two of you fit together. They obviously enjoy interacting with you, otherwise they wouldn't be in contact with you. But there's probably also something in the way that's keeping them from really wanting to actually be together with you. I don't know. Maybe this is some stuff from before, during, or after the breakup. Maybe this is some hurt feelings. Maybe they have not seen demonstrable change, that things are different. Maybe they're not actually having that strong, intense emotional connection with you that they absolutely could have. I mean, sure, maybe they are just kind of enjoying it as sort of like, hey, I've always liked you. We have such a great connection. We have such a history together. But it's not like that, boom kind of emotional connection that really makes them want to drop everything and everyone else that they might have in their life in order to be with you, in order to spend time with you, in order to interact with you. So that could definitely be what's going on. Another thing too is, he could just be like totally confused. He just might not know exactly what he wants in his life. Obviously something wasn't working in your relationship with one another, otherwise you wouldn't have broken up. But maybe he's having some second doubts about it, some second thoughts about it. Maybe there could be a whole lot of things going on. But what you want to do is you want to look down beneath the surface at the emotional connection. What are the emotional motives driving his actions? And how can you position yourself to maximize your emotional connection with him to really bring the two of you closer together? That's where the advanced relational skills that we talk about really come in handy. That's where they really help you to stand head and shoulders above other people, because most people, they don't have the great ability to have a strong emotional connection. They really don't. They're zoned out on their phones, they're zoned out on social media, they're zoned out watching TV and all of that stuff. They don't really have the capacity to create a strong emotional connection with somebody else, to take that perspective of somebody else and to be able to ask a question of somebody else that really fits into where that person is at emotionally, hand in glove, and creates a strong, intense, amazing emotional connection that's going to advance them through, in this particular case, your ex's 5 stages of getting back together, towards that new beginning stage where, they're like, yeah, let's get back together. I don't know why we broke up. That was a total mistake on my part, right? So if you can just keep an eye on the emotional connection, that's really going to position you for maximum results when it comes to your interactions with your ex. With that being said, thanks again for the super chat. Congratulations on your new prime minister. We'll see how the whole Brexit goes in, October? Well, I don't know. Hope the whole EU doesn't fall apart. Hope the UK doesn't fall apart either. Anyway, let's see what else folks are talking about. Greetings from the San Francisco Bay Area. The hood, Richmond, California. Yeah, I really love the Bay Area. For a while I used to want to move there, but it's just like so crazy expensive, and like it's just really hard to keep up with the cost of living there. And I don't know, there's all kinds of like complex issues with California anyway. Like, as somebody who owns their own business now, I don't know the specifics of it, but my mother-in-law, who is actually quite business savvy, she says that like you should never ever 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 move to California if you own your own business. And I don't know, until things change, I'm probably not going to be moving to California, or I don't know, maybe when I retire and I don't have to worry about business any longer. Clay, you are great at what you do. Thanks so much. Well, thank you very much, Jack. Yeah, still having a hard time reading these names that you guys type in as they pop up. Don't worry, I did put in my order for new contact lenses. Those will be coming whenever they get there. And then I won't have to squint so much to read what you say. Kelsey says, hey Clay, really need advice here. My ex got drunk and said some really hurtful things on Monday. Did not remember it. And I told her last night and she got upset and said that we need time apart. Help. Okay. So, I don't know the details about what your ex said, but, oh, you have another post here. Deep conversation here, but my dad passed away and alcohol is a common denominator, and my ex thought that I was comparing her to him. What do I do? Okay, so what you really want to do is, first of all, okay, so there's two different sides of this. First of all, if your ex brought up anything from the past, brought up anything from your relationship together, then that is going to, that's really kind of a reflection of some sort of deeply rooted emotions that they're feeling towards you, that maybe they didn't have the courage, maybe they didn't know how to say it, maybe they thought that they could just ignore it or something like that. But alcohol, it kind of lowers inhibitions to the point where people can like say things uninhibitedly. So that could definitely be what's going on, in which case, take that in and look at, hey, is there any sort of unresolved stuff between me and my ex? If so, you need to clean that up. You need to use things like the fresh start technique in order to get that cleaned up. And then, if it was brought on by something that you did or said, and where you maybe said something about her and she thought that you were like accusing her of being like your father. First of all, I'm sorry that your father passed away. But if she accused you of comparing her to your father, and that was like a negative thing for her for whatever reason, then you want to see this from her point of view, and you want to address her emotional state where she's at. You want to meet her in that emotional state, express to her and reflect to her how she likely feels as the result of everything that happened, and then you can start to navigate her towards a better emotional state when it comes to connecting with the two of you, so that you can kind of heal that disagreement from the past and pave a new way for the two of you to move forward. Okay. So I hope that helps you out there, Kelsey. I saw there was another super chat here. And again, guys, thank you so much for the super chats. I never explicitly asked for those, but it's my understanding that the etiquette rules of YouTube are that I must respond to any super chat. Can you explain what the crisis point is? Signs that your ex, I guess signs that your ex is at the crisis point, and how to get them from crisis point to new beginnings. I was told to pay more attention to what, looks like we got cut off there, to what my ex is doing, and I will have answers to my questions that I have had. Yeah, okay, so the crisis point, this is the second to last stage that your ex goes through in the process of getting back together. And at this point, you and your ex are having pretty good, pretty reliable, pretty regular interactions that feel good on an emotional level. And what happens at this point is that your ex starts to see interacting with you, see a relationship with you as transforming from, like before this point, it's just like it's just an interesting intellectual exercise. Like, oh, what would it be like if I got together with my ex? What would it be like if we got together for coffee? Would it be weird? Would it be awkward? Would it be nice? Would it be enjoyable? I don't know. there's certainly no harm in finding out, right? That's kind of what it's like up until they hit the crisis point. When they hit the crisis point, they're starting to get this groundswell of positive emotions towards you to the point where they can no longer deny that interacting with you feels great on an emotional level. And so the idea of interacting with you and getting back together with you shifts from an interesting intellectual exercise into, oh, wait, I think I have feelings for you. What do I do about it now? Do I need to end my rebound relationship? Do I need to delete the dating apps? Do I need to tell my friends and family that we are dating again, even though it was such a big ordeal to tell them that we broke up in the first place? Do I need to think about, moving back to the same town in order to get together? Do I need to do all of these other things in order to really take this from an intellectual exercise into something that might actually mean that I need to rearrange my life in some sort of way to actually get us back together, to actually clear a path? And this can be scary for your ex. This can be really scary for them because, up until this point, they're kind of sitting on that fence. They're interacting with you, they're talking to you, they're connecting with you, but there's no real, skin in the game. And when you hit the crisis point, your ex is starting to realize that, okay, it's time to consider putting some skin in the game. And what can happen is your ex, if they don't have the real positive pressure from you, they can end up sitting on that fence indefinitely. And so what you want to do is you want to lovingly encourage them to address whatever might be keeping the two of you apart, address whatever might be causing them to hesitate, and really encourage them and help them to take that step towards actually getting back together. Okay, so this can take a lot of different forms, but generally what works is to keep the interactions positive, keep focusing on the emotional connection, keep strengthening that emotional connection, and then use techniques like the fork in the road technique to really help to get them off of that fence in a sort of loving kind of way. This is not like an ultimatum. This is more like a fork in the road sort of thing, because ultimatums, if I can actually talk straight today, they often have a really negative feeling associated with them. Whereas the fork in the road, it's really just kind of like you telling them exactly what's going on with you and letting them know that you have your own standards and convictions and all of that. So anyway, that's really what you do to help your ex get from crisis point to new beginning. So I hope that helped you out there. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, if you like what we're doing, please support the channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Please also sign up for our newsletter over at relationshipinnergame.com. Tomorrow, me and my wife and my daughter are actually heading out to a small town outside of Seattle called Anacortes. So I don't know if I'll be able to chat with you guys tomorrow. If I am able to, I'll probably do it on Facebook. It's easier to set up. So make sure that you're on our Facebook page as well too. Anyway, take care. I'll talk to you later.